Online for Authors. I'm chatting with Jennifer E Tirrell, author of Jane's Secret. Welcome, Jennifer.
I'm so happy to be here, Terry. Thank you for inviting me.
I am super excited to have you. Loved the book. You know me, I am a sucker for a really good historical fiction, and this fit into that kind of genre. But before we dive in, can you let my listeners know, like, what are they going to find when they open up the cover of Jane's Secret?
Oh, well, the book is it's a little of everything, really. There's mystery, there's history, there's some romance, but most of all, I think what they're going to find is the story that spans generations. And what I hope for them to find is the power of leaving like a legacy behind, and what those people that come after us might find when they look back in their own family history. And, just give some thought to that and the importance of what we're leaving for the generations to come.
Absolutely. That was one of my questions. This is like, it's got historical fiction, but it's got like a romance angle to it. It's got like a mystery angle to it. It's definitely Christian fiction. So it's got all of these things. Did you do that on purpose? Like when you sat down, you said, here's what I'm writing, or did you write it and then said, oh, here's what I've written and this is how I need to market it?
I call myself an organic writer.
Yeah.
So pantser. Yes, I want. Yeah.
She's a pantser, folks. Just so you want to. Okay, go ahead.
Exactly. So basically, I had the ideas of what I wanted. One of my goals was I didn't want a book that people had to stop and say, which sometimes happens to me in stories, where's the rest of the plot? I wanted to keep it moving. I wanted people to want to keep reading. I wanted people to want to keep turning the pages.
Right.
And so I didn't want to add a lot of fluff and stuff in there that they were just like, oh, where's the story here? Let me flip through a few pages and get to it. So that's kind of what happened when you put in those pivot points at the end of chapters. It keeps the story moving. And in order to get those exciting pivot moments, I think you just kind of, well, for me, all those different elements came into it just organically as I was writing.
So what I think is really interesting is I've talked with a lot of writers who are kind of in the same stages where we are, where, we have a book or two out and we're still kind of figuring it all out. And so many authors are now writing what I'm calling like cross-genre writing, where, yes, this is very much fits in historical fiction, and yet it very much fits into romance, and yet it very much fits into has a mystery element and
a thriller. It's a thriller.
Yeah. So I mean, it has all of those things in it, and more authors seem to be doing that. And the ones that do tend to be pantsers, organic writers, whatever you want to call them, right? Where they've got this story and they get it out and then they say, oh, look at all these things that it's become, in order to do all that I wanted the book to do. It did this. So that's great.
I do think that authors are coming away a little bit from the concept that you have to pick one genre, stay in the lane, and not move. And so that's where it frees us to really let the muse, or the Holy Spirit in my case, work. And, creation, you just create it. It's fun.
And I love that. I feel the same way, where people say, well, you should pick a lane. And it's like, yeah, my lane is called writing. That's the lane I'm in, and I'm just going to write. So I understand. Now, this story, if I am correct, has some family history.
That's correct.
So tell us a little bit about that. How did this come about, and how did you learn the family history portion of it?
Well, probably, and I don't know if your listeners probably don't know, but I lost my parents when I was a little girl. And by the time I was 3 years old, I was an orphan, and my name changed where I lived changed, my family changed. I was very blessed to be adopted by my sister, my older sister, and her husband. But the name Tirrell that I was given at birth was changed. And so later on in life, after, a long time, a lot of series of events, I decided to change my name back to Tirrell. At that same time, around that time, my daughter was going on her junior year abroad to England. And I always wanted to visit Thornton Manor, which is where primarily a lot of the book is set. And so I did. When I went over there to visit my daughter, we went to Thornton Manor and we were ushered in as 9th and 10th generation Tirrells. And I saw this Jane Ingleton, who is part of the story, Jane's Secret, and she was in stained glass. And it was huge. I mean, just, I don't know how many feet tall and wide. And she's holding the Tudor rose. And there's just, I'm looking at her thinking, do I have her nose? So all this stuff,
which is hard to tell in stained glass, but
it's really hard. Yeah. And a lot of time has passed, a lot of generations, but it was just fun. And I felt this connection to that side of the family and saw her grave and just all of that tied in. So yes, Jane Ingleton Tirrell is my grandmother, my 9th great grandmother. Mm-hmm.
I just find that to be fascinating. So now, knowing that, was there really a key? Was there really something that was passed down, or is that complete license from your,
it is a fiction. It is.
Yes. Yes, I know. That's what I tell people a lot. Yeah, it's fiction. Remember, it's fiction. So.
Well, there wasn't much to go on in the history that I could find. Mm-hmm. Some of the things that really did occur is that Jane also did lose her parents as a young child. She was whisked away to, I don't know if she was whisked, but she lived with Dame Joan Bradbury and her husband there. And her mother remarried and remarried a tyrant. And so those are some of the facts that I could find that I wove into the story. But no, the key I made up.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the really fun part of being a writer is finding the facts that you want to use and then using our imagination to tie things together and tell stories. I have a story that has a little bit of a family history bent to it. And my daughter would call and say, I don't know that story. And I'd say, that's because it's made up. She said, oh, okay, because she'd be reading along and it was like, oh, there's a family story. Yeah, I know that one. Wait, I don't know this one. And it's like, well, you're not going to know that one because it's not real. It's me. So
yes,
there are completely.
Right. We need to tie the story together and that's where the imagination comes in.
So when you were writing, of all of the characters that you put in, who was your favorite to write and why?
I did love writing about Jane. Yeah. I think the reason why is I've always been a Masterpiece Theater fan. I've always loved that time period. I like period drama.
Yeah.
And so it was fun for me I would have actually liked to delve into that more. But like I said, I wanted the story to move along too. Right. And sometimes if you go into so many details, which I love to do, I love descriptive writing. That's my favorite, really, the lyrical writing. But I had to temper it with moving the story forward. But right. Yes, I really did love writing about my 9th great grandmother, Jane.
I can imagine that you did. When writing this story, what would you say was like the most difficult part of the whole journey from conception to where you are now, having it out into the world? What was the most difficult part?
Waiting. Actually, and learning. I think the process for me, I'm a relatively new author. I wrote the book. I feel like it's been almost 3.5 years because you write it takes a year to write. then trying to, and successfully getting a traditional publisher, and then the process that you go through there. And then it's 18 months after that, they have the book and they go through their processes. And so there is a lot of waiting involved. And I think, not that it was difficult, but I'm excited. You're excited. So yeah, you want it to happen.
Well, I know that you and I kind of went through that because you knew it was coming out, and then we set a time, and then it was like, okay, so it's not coming out then, it's coming out here. So we set a time, and then it was like, well, do you even have a copy? No, not yet. I'll let you know. There was a lot of back and forth, and that does get, it's a little frustrating, but not because you're angry at anyone, but because it's like you want to see it. Mm-hmm. Like I want to hold it in my hand. I want to hold it. So yeah, that is.
Well, it's just like giving birth. A lot of people call them book babies, and you do have to wait for your own baby to be born too. And there's a lot of anticipation. So I see where they get that.
Yeah, I do too. I absolutely do. So we talked about the fact that you call yourself an organic writer. Is there a reason you don't call yourself a pantser? Do you not like the term?
Oh, no, I mean, it's when I heard the term organic writing, I don't feel like I really fly off the seat of my pants. Okay. I feel like I let the organic ideas trickle in. Okay. And I listen to them, and I, decide, is this something that's, going to work in the story? Is this going to send the message that I'm hoping to send, things like that. So okay. I think that's all.
Okay. So when you're writing, do you have any kind of plot when you get started? Is that where the organic part comes in and you kind of plot as you go?
I plot as I go. Yeah. I find it very difficult. I remember when I first started writing, they recommended outlines and things, and I felt so bound. I just couldn't. I thought, how on earth does anybody know what's going to happen at the end of the story? How could you know? How could you plot it out? We haven't started writing it yet. So I was very bound up when I tried to do that. I just couldn't even make any progress at all. So that didn't work for me. Now it does work for other people.
I know. And I'm amazed.
Great. It works. I'm amazed too.
Yeah.
It's impressive, really.
Well, and I've tried a variety of different plotting methods, thinking, well, maybe it didn't work for me because I was trying something that was too rigid. And so I tried something that was much more fluid, and it still stops me. I feel like my characters kind of line up on the wall and say, yeah, I'm not participating in this. Let me know when you're done.
I agree with you. And to take that a little bit further too, and a lot of, I've been studying my craft. I'm trying to become a better and better at what I do. And recently was taking a class when I was at the Blue Ridge Mountain Christian Writers Conference, and one of the, international best-selling authors who was there was saying, you really don't need to have a 3-act structure. And I've always heard that is something you need to do. You have to have, obviously your arc, and it has to be a 3-act structure. And that broke me free too. I thought, I don't really have to have that. I can do it my way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And so I think one of the things that I feel very blessed is I have done a lot of reading, but I have taken almost no writing classes. So, people talk about things like, the three plots, the arcs, the points, that I don't know them. I do not know them. So I can't write to them because I honestly don't know them. And I don't mind not knowing, because I kind of feel like I know where the story, like I'll write and then I'll kind of know where it needs to go next. And I can be reading along and think, we haven't had enough action lately. I need to do something here. And I just seem to know it. Mm-hmm. And so I do it. And maybe I'm following some great structure format, but I'm unaware of it. And I think it really helps me, because when people start putting all of those structure pieces in place, Terry's left brain comes out. And left brain Terry is a terrible author. Left brain Terry is a really good marketer. Left brain Terry is there's a lot of things left brain Terry does well, but left brain Terry does not write.
I understand completely what you're saying.
So, you start throwing all that information in there, and my mind's like, oh, now I don't know what to do. Now I can't write. And my right brain just says, no, we're not playing the game. You let us know when you put all that crap away, and then we'll come out and play with you. And it's like, okay. And
then to hear this person say these things, who, was very, very successful when he does,
right.
I just thought, oh, yes, this is good. This is good information for me.
No, and I think that, it's so interesting how different people have such different ways to write a book. And when you read some of these books that tell you how to write a book, you walk away sometimes feeling like, oh, I'm doing it wrong. When really, how you and I write a book, although it sounds very similar, if we sat down in the same room and tried to compare step by step, we wouldn't be doing it the same, nor would and I think there's so many ways to write a book, just like there's so many kinds of books out there, that there isn't really, for those authors who are listening who say, oh, I don't do it right. I just don't think that's correct. I think if you get a book out, you've done it right.
Yes, that's correct. I agree with you on that, Terry.
Yeah, 100%, right? So tell me, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's a very small percentage of the people who want to write a novel and then complete it and get it out. It is, even though there are so many books out there now, it's still a very small percentage of the people who want to do it.
Yeah. And so I just think that, the best advice I have for people who want to write is start doing it.
Just do it. And
figure out, like, now you've got the first thing written. Now look at it and say, okay, what does it need? And go from there. My first draft, my first manuscript, no one will ever see. It's terrible. It really is terrible. I don't even think it's fixable. It's that bad. But it's okay, because it was my first, and it taught me a lot of things, and I learned many things, so that the second one wasn't quite as terrible as the first one. And by the time I got to the first one that I was going to publish, I was now more I understand a little bit more about how this whole craft thing works. Right. So absolutely. Yeah. So are you a write every day kind of person?
I would say yes. That being said, I do try to make sure I have a balance, that I keep my body healthy. Yeah. And that means exercise, making time for exercise, making time to make good, healthy meals for myself and my husband, seeing my family, my grandchildren. So some days I can't write. Today I was kayaking, and now I'm doing this, and I don't know if I'm writing anything. Okay. Do out in nature, or blessed in a way where take in the beauty of what is around me. And me is research for books, because I'm noticing what's around me. I'm noticing how the wind blows. I'm noticing people, their expressions, what they're talking about. All of that stuff is trickling. And at some point it's going to come out in a character or a scene. So I think it's important to have all of those parts of your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I can't say that I write every day, but I do love to write. And every day that I have that kind of quiet time, if I'm under a deadline, I write every day, all day. So it just depends, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you always working on like a major project, or is some of your writing other things other than a novel or whatever the major project is?
I do write articles. I have an article coming out in Mature Living magazine, as a product of Lifeway. I have done anthology with you and others, posts, on Guideposts, so yes, any little opportunities like that come up. I do devotion writing. Part of the Rise Daily devotion through Advanced Writers and Speakers Association. And so a lot of time in the morning, if I'm doing prayer time or whatever, and God do, go ahead and write a devotion. And so, yeah, whatever can become is kind of what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that I've found that I really enjoy doing is flash fiction, which is little tiny short,
Yeah.
and so sometimes depending on what I'm writing for, it can be for 300 words or maybe even 50 words. And I think why I like small, they're hard to do, but when you're done, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes, especially if I'm writing something long, I'm in the middle of a novel, you get to a point where it's like, I don't know that I can even look at this novel right now. I don't even know where I'm going. I don't know what I want to do. Doing something short that you can complete, and then like put the X next to it. Yay, I finished that. I think that's a really good, I don't know,
Feels
for
like
me.
a win.
Yeah. But I'm not one that can work on two main projects at the same time. Like there's no way I could be writing two different novels at the same time. I don't know. How do you feel about that? Are you able to manage your time that way?
I haven't tried it. One at the publisher, but no, I wouldn't do two at once. I don't think.
Yeah, I think it would be too hard.
Too much into the characters. I think we mentioned this in the past where I'm writing and I'm part of that life, and then I go into my regular life, and people don't understand why my thoughts are slower. They're coming out. It's because I'm already living in this other world, and
you're trying to.
I'm not in that world anymore. I'm back in my real world, and it just takes a minute to get yourself like, wait, where am I right now?
No, I get that. I mean, there are times, especially if I've been writing and like I'm just in the zone, and you come out of it and you almost feel like, where am I and what day of the week is it? Like, do I have something planned today? What is on my schedule? Oh gosh, what if I forgot? Like you just really feel
that time goes by so
fast. Yeah. And then you kind of adjust and it's like, oh, okay, there I am. I'm back, but I get it. What are you working on next? I hate that when people ask me that when I've just pushed something out, but usually I am working on something already. So what are you working on?
Yeah, my mind is researching. I'm researching, and my mind is
connecting dots,
processing. I'm processing on the third novel. I have an idea. It's funny how you can just go about your daily business and this idea is just sitting there. There's a lot of people call it a muse, and it's just sitting there and it's knocking and saying, well, how about this? Well, how about that? What if we do this? I think, and it's just talking to me. So right now, I'm just trying to get to the point where I'm like, okay, I can start this. I can get first chapter, but I'm not quite there yet. So I'm still in the research phase.
Right. Can you give us a hint? Like, are we talking another historical fiction with romance elements? Are we talking more contemporary? Is it more thriller? Is it less? Any clue?
The one that is already done, or the one I'm thinking about now?
The one you're thinking about now.
It will be another. There will be a mystery element to it.
Okay.
It's most likely going to be. I have a title, of course, a very loose title, but maybe something like The Artist at Devil's River or something like that. So I think there'll be an artist involved, and so yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, tell us a little bit about the second one. Is it already written and ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's hear about it. Well, yes, it's ready from your end.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, yes, no, that's from, it's going to be set. It is set in Shallow River near
Okay.
where I live in North Carolina. And there's a woman who inherits a Carolina estate, and she didn't know anything about this relative. And she comes down to the Carolinas and realizes that there's a pirate legend attached to the estate. And there's some other things going on that she wants to unravel because it could help save one of her dear friend's children if she can figure this thing out.
Ooh, that sounds really good. And when do you hope that that might actually see
Hopefully the end of next year.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And does it have a name? Are we set on the title for
The
that
River's
one?
Gift.
The River's Gift. Fabulous. Fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jennifer, if someone wanted to reach out to you, talk with you about writing your books, what's the best way for them to do that?
I would love it if they would go to www.writingwithjet. My mother named me Jennifer E Tirrell, and it spells jet, and that was supposed to be lucky. So writingwithjet.com. You could subscribe to my newsletter there. You could reach out. There's an email there. I'd love to hear from anybody. And of course, my Jane's Secret, my debut novel, is out now. Love your support. I would love reviews, all the things that authors love to hear and need to see in their writing journey. I would be very, very honored and blessed if you would give it a try and hopefully love it and write me a good review.
I absolutely agree. Everything will be in the show notes, guys, so you'll be able to reach out to Jennifer. Do run out and grab Jane's Secret. I absolutely loved it.
Thank you, Terry.
I couldn't wait to read it because Jen and I are buddies, and I just really wanted to couldn't wait to read the book, but fell in love with it. Absolutely loved it. Once you've read it, do please go on to Amazon, Goodreads, do those reviews, because as authors, we need those reviews really badly. And Jennifer, no, seriously, and it's so hard to get a review. It's like pulling teeth. And people are reading it, and they're reading it, and they tell you they like it, and then they don't review it. And it's like, look, just give it a star. You don't even have to do anything other than come up with stars.
One word,
please. But anyway, Jennifer, thank you so much for being on with me today.
Thank you, Terry. It's such a joy to be together.
Thank you for listening to Online for Authors, where I, Terry M. Brown, author of character-driven fiction and host of the podcast, introduce readers to characters they'd love to invite to lunch. Tune in next Tuesday for another podcast episode.